don't. You're not selling anything.
The Fed's not done, and I'm going to tell you why.
Welcome back to Sean's show, everyone. We are on episode 76. I'm very excited. If you are just joining, go to seanreillycomedy.com. I headline on the road. I'm doing stand-up comedy. The only date I have up there is Dallas, Texas in December. Something. So go check out. Come see me in December. But I will be adding more dates shortly for this year. So I'm very excited about that. We have so much to get to. I think we should start with the story that has been gripping the nation in the AI world. We have finally we have a Chinese competitor to OpenAI. Now, much like OpenAI is headed up by Sam Altman, who is credibly accused of rape and a white man, DeepSeek CEO is a Chinese man who is credibly I have no idea who the DeepSeek doesn't really have a CEO. DeepSeek is owned collectively by China. That's how they run things over there. And I happen to think that that's a good idea. I happen to think that it's good. I would like to own some of OpenAI. You know, in China, you get to own some of it. Now, what's the cost of that is DeepSeek gets to see all of your photos of your loved ones and train their models to create robot flesh slaves that will eventually enslave you in China. So that's kind of the cost. The trade-off of being in China and sort of being a part of this collective ownership. That's the funny thing about China. China, again, I'm an American. I'm retarded. I don't know what I'm talking about. So just this is not anything. All of what I'm saying is bullshit. But it's interesting that China is seen in America as this like communist, evil communist, you know, everyone's the same. No one has an identity. We're all sort of a monoculture. And at the same time, you have Chinese equivalents to all of the startups that we have in the United States. I think it's very interesting. And, you know, you're always going to have a hierarchy. Like it's funny that in America, we think everyone in China is like a communist slave and they don't own anything and it's impossible to build wealth in China. You know where else it's impossible to build wealth? The fucking United States of America. That's also pretty fucking hard to build wealth here. Let me put this into perspective. My parents are landlords. They own a home that they live in and they own another home that they rent out. Okay? And I'm struggling to build wealth. I have like a tremendous, maybe I'm just an idiot. I have a tremendous advantage. I've been given every advantage that you can imagine. Private SAT tutoring. My parents paid for my college. I got caught doing drugs and my mom drove me home. My mom co-signed my lease for my current apartment. I was able to cheat through my entire engineering degree. I have every advantage you can imagine. I have family and friends that work at very prestigious companies, and they've introduced me, and I've blown it. I've literally whiffed it. I've whiffed it every time. My aunt had a friend that basically I got through my family. I got connected to Google and I fucked it up. So, you know, this idea that America is this country where you can build wealth and it's a free market and the people that work the hardest get to the top is false. It's a false narrative. So it's like, I think everyone in America is like, there is a level of propaganda in this country where you're like, damn, well, you know, like everyone in America, every American, I think a lot of Americans have this thing in their mind where they're like, damn, well, my life isn't going that well right now, but at least I'm not in fucking China. You know what I imagine how that bad they have it. They have 9 New York cities. Do you understand? China has 9, I think it's 9 cities that are the size of New York City or larger. And it can't be that bad. Is communism that bad? I promise I haven't been bought out by George Soros, which we'll get to. We're gonna talk about George Soros. But I'm not paid. This is totally unfunded. It's an unfunded show. It's a bankrupt show. Shanso, we're bankrupt. We're underwater. I'm not bought. I cannot be bought. I cannot be sold. But I'm just putting it out there. Is communism really as bad as they say it is? What is communism? What is democracy? We certainly don't live in a democracy. So what sort of country do we live in if it's not a democracy or a representative republic? You know what really upsets me? It upsets me when I call America a democracy and these bootlicking scumbags come out of the woodwork and they go, Sean, you idiot, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. We're in an oligarchical technocracy, bitch. Wait, open your fucking eyes. They go, Sean, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. We elect people, and then those people elect the people. Listen to yourself. If you think America is a constitutional republic in 2025, you need to get your fucking brain looked at. We don't live in a direct democracy, idiot. You clearly don't know anything about it. It's a constitution. We elect people, and then those people elect people. Dumbass. Okay, sorry, I didn't know. The founding fathers wanted a technological fascist state. That's what they wanted. Hey, idiot. George Washington wanted OpenAI to control everything. Idiot. That's my new character I'm doing. How do you guys like it? Thank you. So let's get to it. OpenAI, and this Chinese company, DeepSeek, the company I co-founded, DeepSeek in China, it is causing a lot of heat and it's making a lot of waves. DeepSeek is making a lot of waves right now in the technology world. Nvidia, if you're a tech guy, maybe you follow Nvidia. Nvidia went down 16% It lost. I mean, let's look it up, guys. I think Nvidia lost $400 billion in market value. I mean, they fell off a fucking cliff. Nvidia is down 16% this week. And everyone is really, again, here's the bigger picture. Nvidia supplies the GPUs, the chips, to OpenAI. And makes a lot of money doing that, and it's seen as the sort of the front running company. They probably are front running. They're money laundering. It's seen as the front runner in the AI race, and DeepSeek has sort of come out of China, and it's open source, and it's which means that it can be pretty much used by anyone for free and developed in sort of open source. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because China's communist. They just kind of opened it up to anyone, right? And so DeepSeek has come out and developed a competitor product to ChatGPT, and this has spooked a lot of investors like myself, spooked a lot of people because they've basically proven the suspicion is that they've proven that they can create a copy of ChatGPT for like $8 million, whereas OpenAI has raised hundreds of, I don't even know how much fucking money they've raised. A lot of fucking money. And OpenAI is very mad. OpenAI is very upset. I'm sure there's a lot of internal conversations happening right now. OpenAI is fucking pissed at China and at DeepSeek. And they're saying that DeepSeek used the models that OpenAI and ChatGPT developed, the secret sauce. Basically, OpenAI is saying that this company in China, DeepSeek, stole ChatGPT's data set, which is the secret sauce, and is using that same data set in their product and sort of leaking the secret sauce of ChatGPT. And here's the ironic thing. The secret sauce of ChatGPT is just the fucking internet. ChatGPT is trained on the New York Times. Like, ChatGPT is literally just basically saying this. They're saying, DeepSeek, fuck you guys. You stole our copy of the New York Times. that we stole from the New York Times. What the fuck? That's what they're saying. There's a lawsuit. You can go look at this. I'm not bullshitting you. There's a lawsuit. The New York Times is suing OpenAI. This is from 2023. So this is from a while ago. The New York Times sues OpenAI and Microsoft over AI use of copyrighted work. So let me add the context here, and the reason that this is so ironic, that the idea that a company like OpenAI is upset that someone stole from them is hilarious, because their entire business model is based on fucking theft. You can't, if you stole something and it gets stolen from you, you don't get to call the cops, right? If you're a drug dealer and another drug dealer steals your drugs, you don't get to call the police. Hello, police, someone stole my coke. Police, a Chinese man stole my cocaine. You don't get to do that. But the rules are different if you're rich, obviously. And so OpenAI, which, you know, is further working with the government, it's slowly seeping its claws into the federal government and the bureaucracy and the military. And it's going to obviously become a defense. Again, I've said it before, but all these Silicon Valley companies are drifting to the right, and they're becoming defense contractors. Every company in Silicon Valley, it doesn't matter how you start, you will always end up becoming a defense contractor. That's like the name of the game. The name of the game in Silicon Valley is very simple. You start a company based on benevolence and predicated on and you use words like this. You go in front of your colleagues at Stanford and Harvard, and you go, I want to create a company that democratizes knowledge. And then everyone goes, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, Sarah. Amazing. And then 10 years later, you're at the Pentagon and you're going, we need to murder these terrorists. That's the progress of a company in the Silicon Valley. So it's just very, I mean, you know, beyond the obvious irony, here's a quote from OpenAI, or from a Silicon Valley venture capitalist. There's substantial evidence that what DeepSeek did here is they distilled the knowledge out of OpenAI's models. And I don't think OpenAI is very happy about this. Let's make one thing clear. There's no knowledge in OpenAI's models. Okay? The only knowledge in the OpenAI models that exists there is the evidence that they murdered that whistleblower. Shit is getting real out there when it comes to AI. Shit is getting very real. There was a guy, I think there's an update on that story. We should look at that story. I'm like Trump now. I will say this about the Trump administration. It is very funny that he is sort of doing like a let's get to the bottom of this kind of vibe. If you'll remember, the reporters asked him about the drones, which we're all terrified about. And he's like, find out what those drones are. Can you find out? Let's find that out. Now, I thought this would be something that the president would be briefed on, but I guess not. And I guess we found out that it was FAA approved. All of the drones are FAA approved. Now, what does that mean? It's probably still China. It's probably still FAA drones approved by China. We don't know. But there's been an update. Let's take a look at this update on the OpenAI whistleblower, because this is a story. Okay, this is funny. Here's a headline. You're gonna love this. Latest OpenAI researcher to quit says he's, quote, pretty terrified. Now, doesn't that sound like a gang? Doesn't it sound like a car? What? So people that leave OpenAI and quit are now terrified that they're going to get murdered and have it be ruled a suicide in the autopsy. What other organizations exist that kill people that leave the organizations? Gangs? Cartels? Mafias are some words that come to mind. So OpenAI is acting like a mafia. OpenAI has faced questions about its AI safety and ethics approaches. Suchir Balaji, a 26-year-old former OpenAI AI researcher turned whistleblower, died in November in a suspected suicide, which has been questioned with concerns around OpenAI's potential involvement in the death. I mean, guys, this is literally like Black Mirror shit. It's Black Mirror shit. It's people that are trying to speak out against OpenAI are getting killed for it. And even I'm scared, because I talk about this stuff all the time, and I'm scared that I might be at home. You know what I mean? And I'm honest, I'm kind of scared that Sam Altman will come into my apartment and rip out my throat and say, this is what you get for crossing me. I'm scared. I'm honest. I'm kind of an AI whistleblower in a lot of ways. You know, I whistleblow every week. I talk about Sam Altman. I'm telling you guys, I was right about Elon. I was right about Elon 10 years ago. People loved Elon Musk. They said he was this awesome guy. They all love him. He's a green entrepreneur. He wants to electrify the automotive market. And I knew that anytime an entrepreneur says that they want to do good for the world, I know immediately that they're going to praise Hitler 10 years later. That's because a real tech entrepreneurs are just capitalists and not Nazis. And I'm in Brooklyn, so I realize there's not much of a difference. People in Brooklyn think capitalists are Nazis. I happen to think there's a difference between a capitalist and a Nazi. But my gut. I had a gut feeling that Elon Musk was a fucking scumbag. And everyone else loved him. Everyone else loved Elon. I knew he was a fucking scumbag. And I feel the same feelings I had about Elon, I have about our friend Sam Altman. Sam Altman is driven by power. Again, it's really not that hard to become a billionaire. All you have to do is throw away your moral compass and do things that mean you can never sleep at night again. I really wouldn't be surprised if Sam Altman used ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT how to murder a whistleblower. I'm pretty sure that's how this played out. There was an OpenAI whistleblower that died, and it was ruled a suicide. Just like Jeffrey Epstein was a suicide, right? And I'm pretty sure what happened was Sam Altman, went into ChatGPT and was like, I'm trying to silence a whistleblower. How should I do that? So I don't know, guys. I mean, it's things are really shaking up. I wish I had any sort of money to bet on these things, but I'm drowning. So that's the rub. That's the rub on the latest in AI. We're going to continue to follow that. The next story, let's move to some positive news, guys. On the bright side, our new US Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, is gay. Woo! Isn't it about time a gay man crashed the economy? Isn't it about time? Isn't it about time that a man who bottoms fucks you financially? I'm very glad that Scott Bessent has become the Treasury Secretary. I'm very glad that a man who bottoms is going to be on top of you, metaphorically speaking. He's going to be in the middle. Trump is on top. He's going to be fucking Scott. And then underneath Scott is the American public getting their ass torn to shreds by Scott's moderately sized penis. He is confirmed. If you don't know, this show really is the sad thing about this show, guys, is that this show really is for you only really know the name Scott Bessent if you are rich and you're his friend. which is crazy. Like, people in America have no idea who the U.S. Treasury Secretary is. And that's why he has so much power. Guys like Scott Bessent have an unbelievable amount of power because they're the U.S. Treasury Secretary, which everyone should know who this guy is, but no one fucking knows. But he happened to be a private equity billionaire. And we're gonna take a look at his background. He's a hedge fund manager, and he's now the Treasury Secretary. He was a part of Soros Fund Management. That's great. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch his confirmation hearing, and play a little bit of his confirmation hearing because I got the video all queued up. Talking to Bernie Sanders, because this is I think it's important that we learn who this guy is, you know, for the new administration. So let's take a look here. We got our friend Bernie, known communist Bernie Sanders, talking to Scott. Let's watch.
Finance system in which a small number of billionaires in both political parties make huge contributions into the presidential and...
Can I just say this? I really love the way that Bernie Sanders says billionaire. He goes billionaire. Let's listen to that again. I think this is fun.
Information that the American people receive. We have a corrupt campaign finance system in which a small number of billionaires in...
Billionaire. I don't want to be a billionaire. I want to be a billionaire.
Both political parties make huge contributions into the presidential and congressional campaigns. When you have a small number of multi-billionaires who have enormous economic, media, and political power, would you agree with President Biden, who last night stated, and I quote, "An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights."
There's no way that Joe Biden said that. There's no way that Joe Biden formed that sentence. So Bernie Sanders here is quoting Joe Biden. Let's just hear the sentence again.
"An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights, and freedoms." End of quote. That's what President Biden said last.
Joe Biden can't use a word with more than 2 syllables. Let's make that clear. Joe Biden did not write that. Kamala Harris wrote that, or one of the White House staffers.
Last night, I agree with him. Do you?
Senator Sanders, I enjoyed our visit.
Talk a little bit closer into the mic.
I enjoyed our visit.
This is pretty much like a podcast. You know, podcasting really has become such a revolutionary form of media, and you can kind of distill a lot of things in the public as a type of podcast. Also, who's this guy on the left? Some fucking kid? Just why is there a child at the Treasury Secretary confirmation hearing? Some random ass kid who will be the next Treasury Secretary. That's great. Why can't I be a kid? I want to go to the Treasury. Why can't I be an 8-year-old that goes to the Treasury Secretary confirmation hearing?
And I hope you got my follow-up materials that on the discussions, my previous writings on.
This guy worked for George Soros. He's literally ordered hits out on guerrilla warriors in Africa. Everyone in the confirmation hearing room is a bad person. The senators, the journalists, the people that are getting confirmed, everyone in there is a bad person. Let's just make that clear. It's a fucking... the government's always been a circus. People are really... I do want to go after like the left a little bit right now and point something out. With Trump's coming into office, and again, as a traditional liberal guy, I do sort of have these feelings sometimes where I'm like, I get like scared about the Trump administration, but government's always been a circus, and it only feels worse because it's not your guy. Like 4 years ago, Republicans had the same feelings that that the Democrats are all feeling right now, which is that Biden became president, and I bet a lot of Republicans were fucking terrified of what Joe Biden was going to do. And now the pendulum has swung to the other side, and now it's the left's. I'm not on the left again. Freudian slip. Our turn. Now it's the left's turn to be scared. But let's just I want to bring a little clarity to the situation. The real guys that run this country are guys like Scott Bessent that work for George Soros's hedge fund, right? And they slowly move their way into politics as they get older. And they have a good hairline. You don't get that hairline. You don't get that kind of hairline at his age without doing some evil. You don't keep a hairline like that at however old this guy is, late 60s, early 70s. You do not get a hairline that clean, and you don't stay that refreshed at that age unless you've used your hedge fund to fund covert operations in Senegal and Libya. Okay? He's going to be the Treasury Secretary, but, you know, it's there's a moment I want to get to. Let me just let's cut back to me real quick. There's a time code. Okay, here we go. Okay. So we're going to go to 426 because I want everyone to see what I want us all to see this moment. This is the Treasury Secretary confirmation hearing. This moment is a little bit crazy.
And remains an unbelievable $7.25.
Sorry,
2 million.
Right here, ready? Bernie Sanders is about to ask about the minimum wage and whether or not the Treasury Secretary wants to raise it. So let's watch.
Workers who are making less than $15 an hour, and nearly 40 million people in our country earning less than $17 an hour. Shamefully, the federal minimum wage, despite the efforts of myself and other people here, have not been raised since 2009 and remains an unbelievable $7.25 an hour. Will you work with those of us who want to raise the federal minimum wage to a living wage to take millions of Americans out of poverty?
Senator,
I already know what he's going to say. He's going to tell you something, a non-answer deflection. Here's what he thinks. He thinks this. If you want to make more money, it's time to stop smoking that reefer and get out of your polycule in Bushwick and get a job, a second job, a third job. This guy, anyone, it's doesn't matter what he says. And Bernie Sanders knows that this guy doesn't want to raise the federal minimum wage, which, by the way, I don't think it should be either. I think the minimum wage should be abolished. I think the minimum wage should be abolished. We should not have a minimum wage. There should be no minimum. I think that people should have to pay for the privilege to work. You want to work? That's a privilege. You pay me, and then you also work. That's how it should work. Right? We all agree with Scott. And then, again, this guy was on Wall Street for decades, and I happen to be on Wall Street myself. Here's the mentality, and here's why. And again, going back to Trump he's saying our country's going to be based on merit again. That was last episode. The United States is not a meritocracy because guys like Scott Bessent are able to come to power because he was able to probably take, again, this is how Wall Street and big law, this is how the elite circles operate. If you want to get a job on Wall Street, you need to take an unpaid internship, right? So you can build the relationships. Well, you know who has the privilege of taking an unpaid internship? Someone whose parents are funding their entire life, right? That's who can afford to do that. So you're already filtering out all of the stupid pores that we're never going to make it anyway. I'm kidding, but let's keep going.
I believe that the minimum wage is more of a statewide and regional issue.
So you don't think we should change the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour?
No, sir.
I think we should change it to 0.
Okay? Mr. Bessent, millions of working-class Americans who are struggling to keep their heads above water are paying outrageously high interest rates on their credit cards. Over half the American...
So this video is about... So what's really interesting about this video, there's somewhere in this where he's talking about George Soros. So I want to find that real quick.
Worth almost $1 trillion. That is more than half of the bottom of our society with him. Do you?
Senator Sanders, I enjoyed our visit.
Talk a little bit closer into the mic.
I enjoyed who you listed, tariffs and China. And look, the three billionaires who you listed that all made the money themselves. Mr. Musk came to the country as an immigrant.
I understand that, but
Mr. Musk came into the country as a South African psyop, a double agent to sabotage us.
what I'm asking you is, when you have a handful of people like Musk, who will soon be part of the Trump administration, and others, when you have three people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society, when these people have enormous influence over the media, when they spend huge amounts of money in both political parties to elect candidates, what Biden said last night is we're moving toward an oligarchy. I'm asking you that question. Do you think, forget how they made their money, do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to two people who I think would qualify for his oligarchs. So
this is not a condemnation of any one individual. I'm just asking you.
Why not? Why can't we condemn individuals? Huh? I really, politicians always dance around. This whole thing is, they dance around. This is not a condemnation. I'm not talking about anyone specific, but there's three people. They're all Jews. No, they're not. I'm Jewish. I can say that. Also, Bernie Sanders is. Also, George Soros is, which is fine. But let's see. He mentions George Soros somewhere here. I want to make a statement. I made a rude and anti-Semitic joke just now, and I want to be clear that I have a lot of respect for all religions, including, but not limited to, Satanism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity. So let's move on here.
So few people have so much wealth and power.
But
do you think that that is an oligarchic form of society?
Senator, I think it depends on the ability to move up and down the income.
No, that's not really.
This kid, I can't get over this kid on the left. This child, I don't even know. Why is this child in the shot? Why is this kid who's just thinking like, I want to go play Fortnite? Why can't I go play Fortnite? You know how much I would kill? You know what I would do to be at this meeting and this asshole kid gets to be at there? You know how badly I want to be at Becca Scott Bessent talking about George Soros and shit? Come on. It's not fair.
Dancer. I mean, even if you had that mobility, no matter who those individuals might be. All right, but let me ask you another question. Right now in America,
this video is clickbait. We have to find the video where he talks about George Soros. Because my point, I was trying to get somewhere with this. George Soros, Scott Bessent worked for George Soros. So, whatever, we'll move on. Well, let's go back to me. So again, we have Scott, Scott Bessent being approved as Treasury Secretary. Okay. Here's the other. I'm gonna queue up a video right now. But you know, I think the American public is digesting the new administration and sort of getting used to the era when getting used to the Trump. We're kind of remembering the era of 2016 to 2020, right? When Barack Obama was the shadow president who controlled. I'm kidding. But it's going to be we may see another era like 2016 to 2020 where Trump was in office, and I think people are still sort of processing that he's back. I think a lot of people right now in America, a lot of people are just still sort of processing, like they're just getting hit with waves. Doesn't matter what your political background is these days, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or independent or whatever. I feel like the average person, if you're worth less than like $100,000, like if you have nothing in the bank, I feel like most of those people, we're just, not me, again, I couldn't be caught dead with you guys, but I feel like you guys are like getting hit with these waves. COVID, bam, just hit like a wave. Crypto scams, bam, another wave. Vaccines, bam. Trump election, bam. It's just wave after wave after wave. And I really don't, it's just hard to process. And I think that's a lot of people say that's intentional. A lot of people are saying that Trump is moving so quickly with these things that it's going to be difficult. They're saying that he's overwhelming the system. And it's and it may come off that way to people that don't work hard. And that is one thing about Trump. You got to give it to the guy. He works hard. Trump does work hard. Now, he's working hard to take away all of our rights, but so is Joe Biden. Joe Biden, here's the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats work slowly to take our rights away, and the Republicans work quickly to do that same thing. That's kind of where we're at in politics. So this is where we're at with the media. Let's take a look at the first press secretary meeting, which the new treasury. So the new press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, is 27. I'm older than her. That makes me feel bad. She's up there with a cross. But what we're going to do is look at a video, and we're going to see something that the Trump administration is doing a little differently in the press corps. Let's take a look in dealing with the press.
Is not less, which is what our founder Andrew Breitbart believed in, into this room where they rightfully belong.
Yeah. Absolutely. And as I said in my opening statement, Matt, it is a priority of this White House to honor the First Amendment. And it is a fact that Americans are consuming their news media from various different platforms, especially
4chan, Pornhub, X videos. It's very important that we remember that Americans are getting their news not from the mainstream media, not from the corrupt mainstream media anymore. Now Americans get their news from people that they can trust. Podcasters like Sean Riley, whose parents are landlords.
especially young people. And as the youngest press secretary in history, thanks to President Trump, I take great pride in opening up this room to new media voices to share the president's message with as many Americans as possible. In doing so, number one, we will ensure that outlets like yours, Axios and Breitbart, which are widely respected and viewed.
Can I join? How about me? Can I be in the press corps? I do a new show.
Outlets have an actual seat in this room every day. We also, again, encourage anybody in this country, whether you are a TikTok content creator, a blogger, a podcaster, if you are producing legitimate news content, no matter the medium, you will be allowed to apply for press credentials to this White House. And as I said earlier, our new media website is whitehouse.gov/new media.
What do you think, guys? Should I apply? I feel like I'd have a good shot, guys. Whitehouse.gov/new media. I'm going to email them and be like, hi, I do a show where I talk about George Soros for an hour. Can I join? I feel like I actually feel like I would have a good shot. See, the thing is, I hate big tech just as much as the Republicans, but I'm not a retard. The Republicans hate big tech because they think that they're getting censored because of their political beliefs. I hate big tech for different reasons. I hate big tech because they're going to create a robot that rips out the hearts of everyone that I love. That's why I hate big tech. It's a little different. I don't think we can agree that our rights are getting trampled. The Republicans think that their right to free speech is getting trampled. I think that I have a little bit of a different view about big tech. I have a view that they're going to trample my right to life and our right to life. So we gotta be careful of these guys. So that's that. That's that video, guys. I mean, yeah, a lot of politics today. A lot of just a lot of activity. Who else is getting confirmed is RFK. I kind of want to watch this too. So RFK is finally getting confirmed as the I guess what's the title again? Director of Health or some shit? Is it Health Secretary? So let's we've watched enough videos. Let's just take a look at the article here, because I don't know how you guys feel about RFK. I like RFK. I think RFK really has a lot of I think RFK really makes a lot of good points. You know, not only about how vaccines cause autism, which of course they do. I think he makes a lot of good points when it comes to McDonald's being really unhealthy. I think that makes sense. I think he talks about microplastics. I like how RFK is a podcaster. It's fun. It's fun. It's just fun. I think we just need to have more fun. Can we just have more fun? Here's something fun. Here we go. So this is from RFK's confirmation hearing. At another point, Senator Michael Bennet, the Democrat from Colorado, grew fiery as he challenged Kennedy on some of his past statements. Now, there's where your issues start. You can't challenge any of these people on the past statements that they've made, because they were being ironic on a podcast. Like me. You can't challenge anything that I say. If I ever become Treasury Secretary, you can't bring up anything I've said on this show because I was being ironic. Everything is ironic these days. Everything's irony. RFK, when he goes on podcasts, he's a comic. People don't get that. People don't get this about RFK. Yes, he is going to be the health secretary. Yes, that is an immense amount of responsibility, and he literally holds American lives in his hands. But you also have to understand that RFK is a stand-up comic. He grinds in the New York scene, and he gets out there, and he's putting in the work. He writes every day. I know him personally, and he's a hustler. So when he goes on these podcasts, he's not making statements of fact. He's running bits by his fellow stand-up comedians, right? So, and that's what the left doesn't understand, is that RFK is a comedian and then he's a public health figure. Okay? So every time people come after RFK, I'm like, you guys don't understand. This guy, yes, he cares about the health of Americans. Yes, he's going to be in a position of immense power. But also, he's doing bits, idiot. So we have a question to RFK. Did you say that Lyme disease is highly likely a materially engineered bioweapon? Did you say Lyme disease is a highly likely military engineered bioweapon? And RFK goes, I probably did say that. I probably did say that. Bennett then asked Kennedy about his past comments supporting abortion rights. When Kennedy began to quibble, Bennett interrupted. This matters. This is a job where it is life and death for families all over this country. But these senators don't understand that RFK is doing bits and he's trying to be funny. That's just a funny moment. A senator asks RFK, "Is Lyme disease a bioweapon? Did you say that?" And Kennedy goes, "I probably did say that." Let's do a little quick Googling. Lyme disease. Now, I don't know. I had a Lyme disease scare. If you've ever been hiking, everyone always talks about Lyme disease because the ticks bite you when you get Lyme disease. Now you can't, I don't know. I'm not going to say whether or not Lyme disease is a military engineered bioweapon, but if it is, it's really not that effective. It was probably created by a third world country that didn't have enough biologists to create something that was really lethal. So, I don't know. I mean, this is to bring it all together, guys. This is going to be a crazy administration. We're going to have a treasury secretary who used to be who was a hedge fund manager. We're going to have a podcaster, RFK, as the health secretary. The press secretary is a 27-year-old religious dumb white bimbo who I actually have a lot of respect for. She seems very well spoken. And the defense secretary is a guard at Gitmo. Isn't that a fun cast of characters? We have a defense secretary in the administration who is a ex-guard at Guantanamo Bay, where he probably raped terrorists. Take that as you may. We have a health secretary who thinks that Lyme disease was a military engineered bioweapon. We have a press secretary who wears a cross while she delivers the news in the government and talks with the press. And we have and we have and Marco Rubio is Secretary of State. You know your cabinet's kind of fucked when Marco Rubio is the sanest pick. Right? I mean, and again, I want to make it clear that government has always been crazy, and the people that go into politics are by definition sociopath, narcissist, fucking insane people that are going to have insane histories and backgrounds. So there's nothing new under the sun. This is not it just feels new because it's right now. But in 4 years, that's going to feel new and crazier. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And I'm just looking forward to this administration. I'm looking forward to AI dominance. I'm looking forward to US AI dominance. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to China. I'm looking forward to crushing China in the dust. And I'm just excited. And I think we should all just be happy and grateful. Be happy, be grateful. Be grateful. Because Joe Biden warned that the oligarchy is here, and that's how I know that the oligarchy has left the building. I'll leave you with this. I'm going to leave you with a little moment of silence. This is I never cover sports on the show, but I feel like we have to. A fan was so the Eagles, I guess, won a football game. The Philadelphia Eagles won a football game, and a fan who was celebrating has died from his injuries. I believe I'm being told that he was on a pole. He was an 18-year-old man named Tyler. And he was climbed a street pole, and he fell off the street pole and died shortly thereafter. And you know, the only way that we can all avenge his death is to all hope that the Eagles win the Super Bowl. You know, the stakes have really never been higher when it comes to the Super Bowl. A college student who was I'm sure a very good student, climbing street poles. I'm sure he was a very good student, very intelligent man. He was studying public health. That's true. I'm not joking. This guy Tyler climbed a traffic pole and fell off and died. He was an Eagles fan. He climbed the traffic pole celebrating the Eagles' victory. And guess what he was studying? He was studying in the school's College of Public Health, where he was majoring in exercise and sport science. Actually, I'm not that surprised that a guy who's majoring in exercise, something all of us know how to do inherently, died while climbing a pole. It's very sad. So we're going to take a little moment of silence for Tyler. I'm going to welcome you to join me in this moment of silence. Okay, guys, that's been the show. I hope you have a great week. We're going to continue on the Patreon. We're going to dive more into AI, and we're going to dive more into some crazy shit. And I might even say some more banned words. You never know what I say on the Patreon. You'll never know what I have to say unless you subscribe. So join the Patreon. Come see me on the road, seanreillycomedy.com. And have a great week. Just have fun. Stay alive. Stay excited, and get excited that our Trump's cabinet is a rowdy group of individuals that are going to do a lot of amazing things for themselves and probably hurt you in the long run. Enjoy.